The Secret to Achieving Personal Goals. A simple guide to transforming inner resistance into personal power. Introduction. We pursue personal goals because we want to make our lives better. New goals bring a powerful flow of positive energy and enthusiasm. The problem is that this positive energy does not always last. Often it gets blocked. The challenges of achieving personal goals is in large part the process of dealing with these energy blocks. These blocks are at the root of the ups and downs that we all experience in life. The Secret to Achieving Personal Goals explains how to transform the inner resistance we face into the wisdom and strength we need to achieve our vital goals and create the life we most deeply desire. The key to overcoming blocks is found in a secret that is hidden within your consciousness. It is a powerful secret that is neither mysterious nor obscure. The fact is that there are successes and personal highs hidden in your present and past that you do not fully acknowledge or appreciate. In fact, it is very likely that you have forgotten many of them. The Secret to Achieving Personal Goals will show you that the key to making changes in your life is not by focusing on negative past experiences, but by awakening the joy of your neglected positive experiences. By reclaiming forgotten and unacknowledged peak states, you will connect to the source of your personal power. Then you can achieve your life's true purpose in the genuine state of freedom and joy. The Secret to Achieving Personal Goals will show you that the path to accomplishing this is a natural and simple one. You are invited to come, be of good courage, and join me. The greater the challenge, the greater the reward. Saying of the Philosophers. Chapter 1. The Nature of the Challenge. A story. After many years of training and practice in counseling, I discovered something that is universal to the process of overcoming blocks to success. The insight is that we generally fail to fully acknowledge and appreciate the steps and the progress we make towards our goals. In fact, we often forget key successes and personal highs along the way. This forgetting is the key to understanding our blocks. The point is essential for understanding the deeper secret I'm going to reveal. For one, as you will see, this pattern of forgetting positive states reveals why we get blocked and why inner resistance to personal achievement occurs. Secondly, from a very practical perspective, if we forget positive states and successes, our lives will lose their meaning and we will be unable to achieve our goals. Any time a person is blocked on the path to achieving a goal, be assured that he or she has failed to acknowledge their own progress in one of the following ways: unfairly judging his or her own efforts negatively, or minimizing and neglecting the importance of steps, no matter how small, that progress toward the goal. As you shall see in the following story, the simple fact is a doorway to understanding the inner workings of our life. Mike is a friend of mine who has come to me for counseling over the years. He is one of the brightest and most talented people I know. Mike has some difficulties finishing things he starts, and he considers himself to be a flake. One evening, Mike called me up and said that he needed to speak to me urgently. He came in a half hour late and did not look himself. My joyful and carefree friend, who usually starts every conversation with a joke, was in a panic and filled with stress. It was upsetting to see. "I'm ready to quit my job," he told me, "and leave my wife, and take off. I just can't take it anymore." He then went on to relate his problems, both at work and at home. He described how he was fed up with his job. It wasn't what he wanted to do. He also described how his boss was mistreating him and he didn't want to put up with it anymore. He then went on to describe his dissatisfaction with his relationship with his wife. I listened and then asked some questions about other aspects of his life. To my surprise, I learned a very interesting thing. Mike was on the verge of completing two of his most important life goals. In the next few weeks, he needed to complete one term paper to get his Bachelor's of Arts degree. And he had also been invited to take his black belt exam in martial arts. Both of these goals had deep significance. Mike had been working on the degree for many years. He had been 2 classes short, and he put the degree off for a few years. Now it was all but finished. The other goal was equally meaningful. Mike was the private student of a master of an ancient and little-known school of Kung Fu. He He had been studying diligently for 6 years, driving a far distance to his classes many times a week, and getting up early to practice. Now he was to become one of the teacher's first black belts, a great accomplishment for him and his teacher. Everything was going great for Mike, and yet one would never have known that from this state of mind. Mike and I spoke together about the profound importance of this particular time in his life. If he could hang on in for a few more weeks, Mike's entire self-image would be changed forever. This self-proclaimed flake would become an expert in Kung Fu and a college graduate. So why was Mike in such a negative state of mind? You could call it fear of success, but it was much deeper. The stress that he was experiencing was immense. All the negativity stored up in his psyche was coming out in a full force attack to try to convince him that he couldn't do it, that he couldn't and shouldn't achieve his goals. The power that speaks out against us in our attempts to improve our lives, I call the inner adversary. When we approach success, the inner adversary gets down to his business, and for a special reason. If Mike does complete these goals, the inner adversary will lose a great deal of power over him. The inner adversary gets its power from the negative images and feelings we have stored in our minds. When we accomplish successes, we have the opportunity to transform those negative images and beliefs into positive ones. To the degree we defeat the inner adversary, we also free ourselves from inner resistance. Mike and I spent some time exploring and discovering the origins of some of these negative beliefs and feelings. Facing the Christ together in the special way that you will learn in the later chapters helped Mike gain some remarkable personal insight. I am happy to share with you that Mike went on to complete both goals with true excellence. Some main points. Mike's story is a valuable example because it illustrates so clearly key principles that are fundamental patterns that arise when anyone seeks to achieve a goal. 1. For the problem and crisis to occur, Mike had to forget his success. You cannot have a problem if you are aware that you are in the middle of a successful progress. As long as you remain conscious of your progress and success, you cannot be in a negative state. Negative states arise in proportion to the degree we forget our success. I'll repeat that. Negative states arise in proportion to the degree we forget our successes. 2. What Mike thought was his problem was not his problem. Mike was troubled about his work and his marriage. He was feeling dissatisfied with his life, but as we learned, these feelings were deceptive. They had nothing to do with the real issue in his life. In a problem state, we blame ourselves, others, and our situation. Mike blamed his wife, his boss, his lousy job, and also himself. I'm a procrastinator. I'm lazy. I'm a flake. Statements of blame are always false. It may be true that we function in our lives in less than ideal ways, but emotionally charged blame statements reveal the working of the inner adversary. Number 3. Mike's problem and crisis occurred as he progressed in his goal and approached success. It was not a failure that led to Mike's crisis. It was the success he was creating. It was a success for Mike to be one step away from his degree and to get the invitation to take his black belt test. Every goal has many steps, and each step we take is a success. Problems and crises occur not from failure, but as responses to successes. And I'll repeat that one again too. Problems and crises occur not from failure, but as responses to successes. Number 4. The crisis point is an opportunity for profound personal discovery. When we reach the crisis and enter into the negative state, we gain a valuable opportunity to discover and free ourselves from the false beliefs and negative self-images. Number 5. We gain positive change and growth when we stick to our goals. The only way to solidify insight and free ourselves from false beliefs and negative self-images is by challenging them through action. When we stick to goals and accomplish what we desire, we prove these false beliefs and images wrong, and we dissipate the energy of the inner adversary. Mike's story is not unique, and the lessons here are universal. Nearly all human problems can be explored in the context of goals and blocks to achievement. My colleagues and I have seen the principles described here applied successfully in thousands of instances and in all kinds of challenges that people face. Pursuing a goal can be broken down in a few parts in a sample chart. The chart says energy cycles for pursuing a goal. Number 1, the aha stage, set a goal. The number 2 stage, progress as you pursue your goal. Number 3, facing the energy block or facing a difficulty. This has 2 possibilities. It can lead to quitting, or the second possibility is a breakthrough that continues the progress to finally, number 5, achieving the goal. The stage where progress is blocked by a difficulty is the pivotal moment. Understanding the dynamics of pursuing goals is essential to health and personal growth. Goals provide the energy of our lives. When we channel that energy towards the goal, we grow. When that flow of energy is blocked, or when we quit the goal, that energy gets trapped within us and causes physical and psychological health problems. The primary insight of this book is that the blocks and negative energy that arise in the pursuit of a goal do not come as a consequence of failures, but because of our progress and the potential of success. The biggest human problem is not the actual failure to achieve what we desire. That is, the things that we blame ourselves and others for. The real issue is the refusal to acknowledge successes. But the question is, why? The idea may sound puzzling at first because we usually attribute the cause of negative energy to our problems and limitations, things we blame ourselves for, such as I'm a loser, I'm a procrastinator, I'm no good, etc. But the truth you shall learn in the following pages is that these blaming statements are the expression of our inner adversary, with its army of negative self-images defending themselves against the potential of success and change. The lesson we must learn is not to believe these negative feelings and thoughts, but to confront them, learn from them, and gain strength from the battle. You shall see that despite its opposition, ultimately, the inner adversary serves a beneficial purpose to help us grow. Without opposition, there would be no necessity for us to become stronger. The nature of the challenge. We all set goals, and we all face the challenge of achieving our goals. The simple question is, why is it at times so difficult? Why do we encounter such inner resistance to achieving what we most deeply desire? The secret to achieving our personal goals is found in understanding the mystery of this inner resistance. The presence of inner resistance reveals the importance of a goal and the potential it brings for good in our lives. Let us begin by first looking at what is at stake in the pursuit of a personal goal. We pursue our goals because they are desirable to us. If something is good, then it radiates with the light of a particular benefit. We exercise because we desire greater strength. We strive to break bad habits, like smoking and unhealthy eating, because we want to improve our lives. We go to school because we seek successful careers and the livelihood to build our personal lives and families. We practice music and other arts because we seek the joy of artistic expression. Therefore, we take on the challenge of achieving a specific goal in order to bring the light of that benefit into our lives. Whenever we pursue goals, we inevitably face challenges. By confronting these challenges, we have the opportunity to achieve a second kind of benefit. We discover the hidden strength and self-knowledge necessary to overcome the personal challenges. When we overcome our limits and break through barriers, we also gain a deeper appreciation of our individual lives and the beauty of life itself. There exists, however, a voice and a power within our psyches that resists the awakening of this beautiful and beneficial light in our lives. This voice expresses itself within our minds in many ways and feelings. It can arise silently in feelings of tension, fear, anxiety, and frustration. It also can speak in statements of fear, doubt, discouragement, self-criticism, and blame. It interprets our worldly challenges to be permanent barriers that make success impossible. Sometimes it speaks in very subtle arguments and says, "You're okay the way you are. You don't need to take on this challenge, this higher goal." In short, it argues in every possible way to persuade us to abandon our desire for a better life. I call this power the inner adversary. So what advice is generally given against the resistance of the inner adversary? The advice often expressed is, build the willpower to overcome the inner resistance. Although willpower is necessary for personal development, and it certainly succeeds up to a point, willpower is often insufficient by itself to meet the greater challenges. This is because willpower alone is like having an army without a general. A big army without intelligent leadership can win smaller battles, but when it comes to the big battle, it will rarely be victorious. What, after all, is the reason for this resistance to achieving good things? It is very difficult to fight inner resistance when we do not understand why it arises in the first place, or what the battle is truly about. On the face of it, it doesn't make sense. We desire good things, but at the same time, part of us resists achieving them. Why do our own minds pull us in two completely different directions? Moreover, since this resistance comes from our own minds, it is often a source for continued self-criticism and blame, which further strengthens the resistance to growth. The danger is that the inner adversary will persuade us to abandon our goals and the vital benefits that the pursuit of personal growth brings. We can gain tremendous hope and strength for the battle by discovering the truth of the inner struggle for our personal goals and the nature of the inner adversary we must confront. In the following chapters, you will learn the secrets of how the inner adversary works. You will discover this adversary ultimately works against us to make us stronger. However, in order to gain this strength, we need to learn the inner workings of the drama we face on the path to success. And one of the main points we can learn from this chapter is that the inner dynamics of the struggles we all face are very similar. And the self-criticism that we often hear in our own minds, we attribute to ourselves. And we think it's particular to ourself. The point we're trying to bring out in this chapter is that this is an objective reality that all of us face in the struggle. It's a game. We're all involved in the same game, and everyone experiences the same kind of experiences. And when we can look at our own lives objectively, then we can begin to let go of that self-criticism and the personal emotions that are associated with that.